All right, Landon, hit the disclaimer.
So tips are just, backing up scheduling. Schedule your sleep. That's where it starts. Dark bedroom, blackout. When we built our house here 4 years ago, the blackout blinds have been over the. We've not seen the outside that bedroom, and we built a little door so my wife can get into the bathroom without having to come into the bedroom. An extra little door through a closet, and just little things like that, so she can leave me alone all day long and doesn't feel like, oh my God, I've got to get in there to get something. I don't want to wake him up. And so we mitigated that. So darkness, cold, and these bed coolers have been life changers. I personally just can't speak highly enough of it. I happen to be someone who's a heavy sweater. And so I would just drench beds at night sometimes, and especially in Texas summers, even with the air conditioning going, it's still getting a bedroom down to proper temperatures pretty hard. With these bed coolers, I don't sweat in bed anymore. And so I've been using one for 5 or 6 years, and I use it every single night. And so those kind of things, years ago, I remember reading an article on, money can't buy you happiness, but maybe it can, maybe a couple things can. And just one of the things is like, a good mattress, good sheets. There's like 10 things that maybe if you spend a little more money on, you'll be better off for. And I would say a cooling mattress, it's just a little pad that goes over the mattress itself and runs cold water through it. It's very simple. Is been game changing for me. And then just having, if you have an odd work schedule, having an agreement with the people in your community, your family, of this is my sleep time, and so unless the Russians are invading or people are handing out money at the door, I'm not to be woken up during the daytime. Yeah. So
it was kind of hard for my family to get used to it.
Yeah.
And it's just not
it takes a discussion.
It does. It's like they call me, I worked 3 to 3 for a long time, so I'm still asleep at if I got home at 5 a.m., I'd still be asleep at 11 a.m. a lot.
Yep.
And then people would call me and be like, "You're still asleep?"
Right.
I mean, and it was like, yeah, it's only been 5 hours,
Yeah.
So, but it took a long time for that to even happen.
And then in the modern day, the phones, and I just like, oh my God, people are like, oh, this guy, someone texted me at 9 a.m. It's like, why is your phone on? Well, something might happen. Really, how many times has leaving your phone on and disturbing your sleep saved a life in your family or your community?
Yeah.
Seriously. And so there's kind of this data that says that your phone should be out of your room in a drawer. Just mentally, and even just the proximity of it has some sort of effect on us. And so what I've kind of, my mitigation there is I turn mine to airplane mode, because I still use it as a alarm. So I want it in the bedroom, but it's in airplane mode. So number one, people can't get through to me. And number two, mentally to me, there's no text messages, phone calls, emails on my phone until I get up, do my little morning thing, turn my phone on, and then the world comes in. And so it's kind of a mental thing too. If I get up, I'm 60 years old, so I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom a couple times during the night, The phone's off. In my brain, there's no emails or texts on there, and so I'm not checking it. I just go to the bathroom, get back in bed, and go back to sleep. So that's just an important, more modern day hack, is to have your phone not in do not disturb mode, in airplane mode when you're sleeping. If you can give me examples of lives being saved because the phone was on during the night, 1 in a million, that's the same as 0.
Right.
Not getting good sleep every night is a health risk.
I made the mistake pretty early on as a nurse practitioner. It was harder, once I transitioned from nurse to nurse practitioner, it's harder to leave work at work. As a nurse, I was able to dissociate pretty easy. I could walk out those doors and I'd almost forget what I did. As a nurse practitioner, I carried kind of loaded the patients on me a little bit more. And I got up one time and I scrolled through Epic, the haiku app.
Yes.
And I saw one of my patients was in surgery that admitted and was like, why did that patient go to surgery? I didn't admit him for anything surgical. And then I was up
all night long.
Yep. And so I never, after that, I did that just because it was, I didn't go back to sleep after that. You know, it was nothing crazy. I didn't miss anything, but I was so new. I was always so worried about missing something.
It's like, the scheduling and then all and compartmentalizing. It's work stress does not happen at work. Work stress is when you're thinking about work when you're not at work. And so you need, to the best of our ability, the more we can leave work behind and then come back the next day is super important. So that's great you mentioned that.
Just kind of back to getting a good mattress. One little kind of personal thing is like anything that comes between me and the ground, I'll spend a little bit more money on. Tires, shoes, chairs, beds, mattress, that kind of stuff.
That's a great concept.
I'm also pretty hard on anything that comes between me and the ground. So, I just typically have to spend a little bit more anyways.
That's a great policy.
And just kind of one little thing on sleep is almost the most important recovery aspect that is slept on. I mean, and whenever you're trying to build muscle growth happens at night, recovery happens, and so people, I've had guys who have made it to the gym, working on their nutrition, trying to get their stress under control, and then they're sleeping 4 hours a night because they can't do everything in a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I would rather you take 3 days off of the gym instead of going 6 days and use the 2 hours or whatever you would have done and put that towards sleep. You're going to recover better. You'll probably make more progress faster if you prioritize it a little bit, and it should help your stress response and everything as well. So
that's why we're talking about it first.
Right.
Because if you're not doing it, why are you really doing the other stuff? Because you're not going to get the benefit of the other stuff. So you've got to put sleep first, and then the rest, it's the bottom of the pyramid. That's the foundation for all of it. All of your recovery, all of your health, all of your mental, all of your forming new memories, all of your recovering from yesterday's work, being ready for tomorrow's work, whether that be physical, mental, social. It all happens at night while you're asleep. It's paramount. And, I've seen 1 in 10, this concept of short sleepers. Some people sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. And, the guy that wrote the real popular book, Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep, in there he says 1 in 10,000. Some people say 1 in 100 are actually true short sleepers that only need 4 or 5 hours a week a night, and they function just fine. So I always look at myself, I'm not a special snowflake, so I'm average. So that means I'm not one of those 1 in 100. And so I need my 8 or 9. I would just assume that you need your 8 or 9 unless you're someone that every single night for your whole life gets up in 5 hours and like, okay, I'm ready to go. Now, if you spend years only getting 5 hours of sleep, you can do it and you think you're doing well, but you're just not doing well in all the other things. So you can adapt to it because we can adapt to anything, but you're just not living your best life if you don't put it first. So anyways, that's an awful lot of time on sleep.
It was a lot.
And I know people are bored right now, so we'll move on.
One last thing, if you feel that you have sleep apnea, get a sleep study so you're not suffocating a third of your life. That's my last. I uncover a lot of sleep apnea with testosterone.
It is so important. Yeah.
And just that's always a question that, and it also from a differential perspective, sleep apnea mimics the same symptoms of hypogonadism and stuff. And so it's always on the differential, so I always ask about it.
Yeah.
Additionally, testosterone causes secondary erythrocytosis that can be exacerbated by sleep apnea because they're suffocating a third of their life. So anyways, that's something I just kind of want to throw in there. But moving on, I do want to kind of go back to resistance training.
Okay.
Has that always been a part of your regimen? And if it has it changed as you've kind of gotten older? And have you had to change anything with it in regards to your cycling? Because cycling has been your first and foremost, but just kind of resistance training throughout the years and how you'd approached it.